and welcome back to Brick Gaming YGO. I got first place with ALTERGEIST again in competitive locals the other night. Now I want to really show you guys how to play ALTERGEIST, how to win with ALTERGEIST, really just give you a full breakdown. So I want to give a very brief deck profile. I did another video with a more in-depth deck profile, but this video is going to be more focused on combos, interactions, and how to beat certain matchups that are really good right now. So before I get into all of that, like, comment, and subscribe. If you're not subscribed, definitely drop a sub, definitely subscribe, check out my other videos, leave a like and comment below, and let's get right into this. So as I was just saying, you should go back and watch my other video if you haven't seen the deck profile, but it's very standard, just triple multi-faker, triple Melisseek, triple Marionetteer, 2 Silcatus, 2 Concurry. Then we play for hand traps 3 Ash and 2 Valor. All of this is super standard, nothing special here. If you really want to know like a lot more like in-depth about ratios and stuff like that, definitely check out the other video. It's the other most recent video I've uploaded. Then triple Pot of Extravagance, 1 Pot of Duality, and 1 1-for-1. This is all the spells you need to play, and you could play more Pot of Duality, but you don't really have very much flex space, and I'll explain that in a second. Then for the traps, I play triple Personal Spoofing, double Manifestation, and 1 Protocol. Now I know a lot of people like to play double Protocol. Just my reasoning for playing 1 Protocol instead of 2 is that Manifestation is free recursion, Silcatus is free recursion, so even this hits grave, it's not a big deal. And also on top of that, Manifestation just lets you go for game more, lets you OTK faster, and or not OTK faster, but win the game faster. And that's really like what I feel like the deck's biggest problem is, because yeah, really like a lot of times go late game to actually be able to OTK your opponent or win the game just right off. Then when I play triple Infinite Impermanence, pretty standard, triple Solemn Judgment, pretty standard, triple Solemn Strike, also very standard, and then 1 Imperial Order. And then finally for the last 2 cards, this is my flex space. These 2 cards are the only flex space in the deck, and that will be Lost Winds. Now you could play Rivalry, or look, words are hard, Rivalry, or you could play something else in its space. But for right now, Lost Winds is just super good. It won't mean so many matchups. It's like having another Infinite Impermanence, except for the effects are permanently negated, and the monster loses half of its attack, so it's really good against the links, and just outright wins the game. Now going into the extra deck, we have double Linkuriboh. You could play 3, but I don't think you really have enough space for 3 if you're playing like the full combo version of the extra deck. Then 1 Anima, which is good if your opponent misplays, that's how you win the game. Then we play 1 Almirage, just allows you to go into Hita to do OTK, and I'll show that combo in a bit. Then we have 1 Hexta, or not 1, but 3 Hextia. You want to play 3. You want to get banished off of Extravagance. That's like literally the only card you care about. Then these 2 cards, this allows you to go into the OTK, whether your opponent's playing water or fire monsters, but as long as your opponent's playing Ash, you can OTK using Hita. Then there's 1 Cerberus, 1 Phoenix, and 1 Unicorn. Right now, Cerberus is the only flex space in this extra deck. Everything else is super standard in what you want to play, but this is like literally the one flex space right now. And just a beer if you like don't really have much of extra deck left, or you have a few cards left in your extra deck off of Extravagance. This can just be a difference for a game, either that or Phoenix. Then I play 1 Prime Banshee. It doesn't really come up, but when it does come up, it's pretty busted. 1 Selene. This is a part of the OTK, and then 1 Access Code Talker, and that's the main card to try and get to off of the OTK. Now I'm going to go through interactions in the deck, combos in the deck, all that fun stuff, and then I'm going to get into matchups after that. So for the first interaction, I'm going to be talking about multi-faker with any trap going first, games 2 and 3. Now game 1 is okay if you go first and you just blind multi-faker right off the bat. I won't recommend it though. You want to hold on to your multi-faker as long as possible, because if your opponent starts to establish a field, it means that they can't evenly match you anymore, they can't lightning storm you anymore, they can't just completely destroy your field. This is what's very important, because in my side deck, just like most people's side decks, I'm playing like the triple evenly. And when you're playing multi-faker, if you just blind this going games 2 or 3, and you're going first, your opponent could easily have evenly matched in your hand, and it can just lose you the game. So you always hold on to multi-faker as long as possible. You don't just blind multi-faker off of a card. Now I know that most people know that, but in case you don't, it's very important not to do that. Next, I really want to talk about multi-faker and its interaction with evenly matched. Now, some people didn't understand this, but when you activate evenly matched and blow up your opponent's field, banishing everything, you can chain multi-faker off of it in hand. So, let's say you get a really busted hand. Let's say your opening hand, going second, like games 2 or 3, is evenly matched, impermanence, and multi-faker. Now, the way you want to play this hand is that, and the other 2 cards don't really matter because this is pretty much game right here no matter what, is if your opponent starts to establish a field or sets up a monster that you really don't want them to set up, you can impermanence it during that turn, get rid of it, solve the problem. But you don't chain multi-faker at that point. You hold multi-faker. If you're going second and you sight in evenly matched at all, there's a chance you could draw into it, there's a chance that's already in your hand, and that's why you hold on to multi-faker. You don't automatically chain it off of that card. Then, during your turn, you're going to go battle phase, activate evenly matched. It doesn't matter if it gets negated, it's not a big deal. It's better than having multi-faker plus Silk Assist on field, and then having evenly matched in hand, because that's just really awkward, and that's how I would recommend to play that out. And honestly, I opened this hand once or twice the other day when I went with this deck, and both times I would go impermanence or Veiler, but never chaining multi-faker. And then during my turn, I would go evenly matched, and then on resolution, I would chain multi-faker. Because my opponent usually holds on to their boss monster or holds on to one back row that's already broken, but it doesn't deal with multi-faker 99% of the time. So that's how I would recommend play that interaction. Next is another really cool interaction, which is going to be Silk Assist. Once I grab it, Silk Assist, and then also you're going to have a monster reborn for your deck, Manifestation. So this is another really cool interaction I learned recently. So if you have Silk Assist on field, this is in your back row, and let's say you have a multi-faker in grave, you haven't used multi-faker this turn, you don't have a hand, whatever. So, and you haven't used Silk Assist. So if you have this type of board, or just really any Altergeist in grave, anything like that, and it's either your turn or your opponent's turn and you have Silk Assist, the combo is to activate Manifestation, targeting multi-faker. Then you're going to chain Silk Assist, bouncing back Manifestation. Manifestation will resolve, summoning multi-faker, and then multi-faker's effect will resolve on resolution. The thing is that once this card leaves field before the monster gets summoned, neither of them are on the field at the same time. Thus, if your opponent were to try to blow this up, they can't. They can't get rid of it just by playing MST. And if your opponent were to try to hit this card in your back row by activating MST, Twin Twisters, whatever, and you have a legal target, you activate this, declare your target, and then you chain Silk Assist. So that completely dodges the MST, completely dodges the Cosmic, dodges all of that. Plus you get a monster from your graveyard, and then you can go plus from there. And then you can also get rid of one of your opponent's cards with Silk Assist. It's super simple. You just win games that way. You win games super quickly and easily. Next, playing around Called By. Now, a lot of people are playing Called By right now, and most of the time, you're going to go first, and you're just going to be lucky. Called By does nothing against you. But sometimes you go second, and when you go second, things can hurt. So if you have like Melseek going second, doesn't matter what other cards are, the best way to bait out a Called By is hoping to open hand traps. But if you do open hand traps, yeah, go after their combo stars. Yeah, go after the cards that matter. And I'll be talking about matchups very shortly. They bait out Called By because you never want your Melseek to get Called By, because you're going to always have traps in your hand. You're always going to have ways to get to like more traps, but you need a way to get to multi-faker, to other Altergeist monsters, to stuff that wins you the game. You're going to try to bait out with Effect Veilers, Ash Blossoms, etc. And then also late game with Called By, if you have Manifestation, or like another card that's like a Monster Reborn, like let's say you're actually playing Monster Reborn in your deck, Monster Reborn really doesn't do anything. You need like trap summons, like basically Manifestation is the best one. Your opponent will, if you're trying to blow up their back or try and get rid of something, they're automatically going to try to like Call By a grave a Altergeist monster. That's why you always set up one Manifestation about middle game when your opponent starts to begin to get low on resources, and you want always have that Marionessor because you want to grab Manifestation. Because a Call By the Grave in mid game, when you or your opponent's low on resources, can be the difference in the game. So that's why I would always recommend grabbing Manifestation, and when they activate Call By the Grave, chain Manifestation, it deals with that card super quickly and easily, and then you have nothing to worry about. Or you can try to bait it out with Veiler and Ash. Next, I want to talk about how deep do you want to go with extravagance? How many extravagances do you want to play during Game 1, Game 2, or Game 3? Now, during Game 1, if you're going first, it doesn't matter how many extravagances you play. Extravagance is a good bait card. You hardly ever go into your extra deck. The only cards that you really care about is honestly your Link 1s and and your Hextia. Everything else can get banished. So that's literally, if you just need one Hextia and one of your Link 1s, that's literally 13 cards you can have banished, and it won't be a big deal. Now, during my games today, anytime that I saw Extravagance Game 1, I would use as many as I had, as much as possible. The reason being is that if you go first with this deck, and your opponent, obviously doesn't have their side deck ready yet, you're going to win the game. As long as you know the matchup, you're going to win the game. Or unless you brick. Those are two options. So if you don't brick, and you know your matchup, you're always going to win. You can have like a super average or even slightly below average hand going first and still win the game. So with Extravagance during Game 1, go as deep as you can. It doesn't matter if your opponent ashes it, it doesn't matter. As long as your hand just semi-decent, you can win. Next, Games 2 and Games 3. So Game 2, if you're going to go second, I think your extra deck does matter a little bit more. And for Games 2, I would only maybe do 1 or maybe 2 Extravagance at most during that turn. Unless you have a really good matchup, then I would just go all out, and it doesn't matter at that point. And then Game 3, it just depends. If you're going first, I think it's a good bait card, and it can just win you. If you're going second, win the game for you. And if you're going second, I would just follow the same advice as Game 2. If you're going second, it might matter more just to hold on to your extra deck in some capacity, only using like 1 to maybe 2 extravagances throughout the entire game. You do want to have your extra deck left over. And honestly, I never resolved 3 extravagances in a single game. That like never happens. You always use at least 1 or 2 cards out of your extra deck during a duel. So that's just my personal opinion on extravagance. And finally, I'm going to teach you guys how to play the access code combo. So for the access code combo, all you're going to need is Madolche plus one other ALTERGEIST. So, and depending on how you want to do it, doesn't matter how they're summoned, depending on how you want to do it. So the easiest way to do it is to link them off into area, and your opponent needs to have a water monster engraved with this combo. So you're going to take a water monster from your opponent's graveyard, then you're going to link that monster and your opponent's water monster off into Selene. Now every other deck in the game is pretty much playing spell cards. You play a few spell cards, so if your opponent only has 2, you should have at least 1 spell card engraved. If your opponent has more than 2 or 3 or 4, whatever, it doesn't matter. Selene will activate and you'll reborn Madolche. Easy. You got Madolche on field. Now you link 4 and you go into access code, and at that point you can blow up their field. And if you have any other ALTERGEIST monsters on field, which you usually do, that is just straight GG right there, and that's game over. Next, the other way to do this card is once again have these 2, but this time your Madolche needs to be normal summoned. You have to have your Madolche normal summoned this time. First, you're going to link off your normal summon Madolche into Almirage. And that's how this combo works. So you're going to use Almirage. It's a fire. You need a fire for this combo. Then you're going to link 2. So you're going to get rid of your Almirage almost immediately to go ahead and grab a Hita. Then you're going to steal a fire monster from your opponent's graveyard. And your opponent always has like an Ash, or if you're going against Striker, they always have a Kagari engraved. You're going to steal that monster. You're going to link 3 again. Do the same thing with Selene. Reborning your Madolche back to your side of the field, and you're going to link 4, and then you're going to go into access code, and at that point you probably have other ALTERGEIST monsters as well, and if you don't, it's fine. You have a card that can blow up the field, and usually this is just game over. And that's how you do the really simple, really easy to learn access code combo. Now I'm going to go into just some quick matchups and how I'll go ahead and beat those matchups. Now first off, I'm going to be talking about Adamantipears. Adamantipears, if you go first, you're going to beat Adamantipears. It really doesn't matter. Your opponent could, be the best Adamantipear player ever, but as long as you know how to set up a board, you're going to win. And when you're playing against Adamantipears, the main thing you really want to hit is not their combo extenders. What you're going to want to hit is the cards they end on, with strike and stuff like that. Now, if it seems like they have a bad hand, like let's say they just straight up normal summon out Doki Doki, and it seems like they might have miscited properly or something like that, then you're just going to hit with a Valor or an Ash. And this is going second. Like, going first, you just win. You see any interaction, you're winning the game. Now, going second, you want to see either Valor, Ash, or you want to see impermanence. So those are the hand traps you want to see. Also going second, you want to see evenly matched. And you also want to see a side decked Dark Ruler No More. You want to see one of these cards, or all of these cards, in your hand in some capacity. Also seeing multi-picker with like one of the traps as well is really good against that deck. But here's how you're going to beat Adamant Spear going second. Going second, if it seems like they have a bad hand, you're going to hit the Doki Doki or whatever card they start off with to start their combo. Because if you hit the combo stars, it's going to be hard for them to get going, and they have to give up extra resources. Now, if you don't have to see a hand trap, all you want to see outside of that is Dark Ruler No More. And some of these players that play Adamant Spears, they might side in Solomon Judgment or like some type of negate. That is fine. It's very unlikely that they see, and if they see just one of those cards, you can possibly base it with a impermanence when they set it, and just activate it in the same column as that card. Then they're forced to negate that, and if they don't negate it, then you just go straight up Dark Ruler No More, and it's GG. If you get Dark Ruler No More on them, just all you need to do is just go into Evenly or any other card that really has interactions, a melee seek, whatever, and you can just break their entire board from there. Next, I want to talk about Eldritch. Eldritch, in my opinion, should be a really easy matchup for you. It should be the most easiest matchup you've ever had. And the reason being is that if you're going up against Synchro Eldritch, all you want to do is hit their Crystal and Halki Fibrax either on your turn, well, not on your turn, but on their turn, whether you're going first or second. You just want to see a hand trap against that card. That card is the only card that matters in the combo variant. Then if they're playing the Invoked variant, what you really want to hit is hit their Fill Spell, prevent them from getting those searches, so they get anyways. Then you want to hit Invoker before your opponent can really get going. You want to stop their engine at the Invoker or at the Meltdown. That way they don't get the extra resources and they don't get the extra pluses. Then for just pure Eldritch isn't even really a problem. If you're going to go up against pure Eldritch, they want to go into the grind game. You want to go into the grind game, except for your deck does everything better. Because they had to give up so many resources for their elixirs, for their golden lands, golden voids, whatever. They had to give up so many resources at that point that they don't have as many negates or as many interactions. Really, their best interactions is playing a bunch of hand traps, and you don't care about hand traps because you can just grab a pro call super fast, super easy. And outside of that, if you're going first, second, whatever, you're just going to try to blow them out of the water with Evenly or blow them out of the water with hand traps. Not so much for the pure build, if it's just pure. Hand traps really don't do as much in that version. You're just going to basically play Evenly, or you're going to play around them with traps, just preventing them from getting their searches. And really, Wayward would be pretty weak, but Ash Blossom would be super strong against just pure Eldritch, because then you can stop their Scarlet Sanguines, etc. Next, I want to talk about Dinos. Now, Dinos can be a difficult or very easy matchup depending on how good your opponent is at Dinos and how good you are at Dinos. Now, in my experience, I kind of do average against Dinos. I'd say it's the only deck that I've really lost to before. And the reason being is that my first time playing Altergeist, the first time I ever picked up the deck, I lost to Dinos during round 1. And it was my mistake. And that's why I have more like a 50-50 matchup against Dinos. And the way to beat Dinos, I've learned, is to out-resource them. If you can out-resource them, you're doing well. But what do you want to hit in Dinos is really soul eating the level 4 starter. You want to hit Miscellaneous Source. To say you go for Miscellaneous, you want to try and negate that with some Strike or with a Protocol. You want to get rid of that card. Miscellaneous Source makes their cards unaffected. And the times that you don't hit Miscellaneous Source, that's when you have Strikes or Psalms in your back row. If you have Strikes and Psalms in your back row, then you have no problem. Don't even worry about hitting Miscellaneous. It's not a big deal. You can just hit cards when they hit the board, because after they use Miscellaneous Source, it's almost guaranteed that they're going to be doing 99% of their stuff is just going to be special summoning. And if they get like one Soul Eating or one of their level 1 boys, and that's it, then you're doing perfectly fine. It's not a big deal. You're doing good. Now they do activate Miscellaneous Source and you don't have negates, then you're just going to hit that card right off the bat and hope for the best. Next, Orcust. Orcust should also be a very easy matchup. If you hit their normal summons and just hit their cards that send, that should be an easy win for you. And the only way that they're going to really get out of that is by trying to play Gizmet Control or trying to go into maybe Dark Grepher. Outside of that, you should always win against that deck. Next, Madolches, you have a super good matchup. Their problem is that they only have interactions on your turn, but you have interactions on their turn, so as long as you have more interactions than them, you're guaranteed to 100% win. Next, Salmon Great. Salmon Great can be an interesting deck. If you go first, you're guaranteed to win because you can just prevent them from getting a board started. And if you go second, really the best way to do it is to bait out their negates. With Extravagance, they should have at least one, maybe two negates. And then once you bait out that, you can basically just go off and win, or you can just go straight battle phase and evenly them, or do whatever else you need to do. And then finally, Rogue. This deck is kind of Rogue, kind of tier 2, tier 1.5, maybe for the best players of this deck. And against the other Rogue decks or matches, everything is about resources right now. Everything's a really resource-heavy game, and the deck that's why I'm playing this deck. As long as you know how to handle your resources, you're going just super plus, and you should never be able to lose. Now also, talking about side decks against the Rogue matchup, I kind of want to go a little bit more deeper in depth with that real fast. So for side decking, I've of course played a triple evenly, triple Heavy Storm Duster. This is really good against Rogue matchups, and this is part of how I play against Rogue, is Heavy Storm Dusters. Dark Bribe is really good against anything right now. If you go first, games 2 or 3, this is the card you want to see. This is the card you want to win with. It's just super broken. Then double Cosmic. Cosmic is an amazing card. Just allows you to win, allows you to just get rid of cards, is one of the few spells you play. Then double Dark Ruler no more. There's not as much Adamantibators as you think, and any other combo deck you can just stop with hand traps. Adamantibators is the only one that you can't guarantee to stop with hand traps, so Dark Ruler no more is the best option in my opinion. And I think it's really good too. Then 2 DD Crow, this is only good against Orcists, maybe Dinos, just a lot of fringe decks. So I'd say that this card's decent. It comes in clutch. I would recommend playing this in your side deck. And then finally, Dino Wrestler Pankertops. The card's broken. Every time you see it, you just win the game. It's an auto win going second. The only thing I would change in the side deck is maybe cutting out one Heavy Storm Duster and maybe the Dark Bribes for like Nivirios. That's the only change I would make in this entire deck. Everything else is perfect. I've been winning with it. Almost all my games the other night when I got first place, I won 2-0, just super fast games. My shortest game was 10 minutes long. I beat Dinos in 10 minutes. Then I also beat Zombies in like 15 minutes, and I also beat Madolches in the final in like 20 minutes. So yeah, I just did super amazing. I'll put below like my matchups for that tournament. Once again, like, comment, and subscribe. Sorry for the video being so long. Yeah, it's like almost 25-minute long video. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next video.